to LA to record Starfish. At that stage, the band hadn't been doing very much as a band for a long time. You all had your solo project. Was it hard becoming the Church again?
No, not really, I guess. We sort of fell back into our old habits, which is appropriate for a church.
Very much so. But of all those solo projects and things, are they all out of your systems now?
Definitely, yes. And it's teamwork from now on. All for one and one for all.
You went to LA to do the album. Why LA?
Well, we'd signed with Arista Records, which are an American company, and we'd done all our other records in Sydney. And they sort of wanted to have a look at us and sort of vaguely keep an eye on what was going on. And the guy who was producing the record owned a studio which was in Los Angeles.
But LA is not exactly the most pleasant environment to live in for a start.
No.
So did that have any effect on working there?
I think it must have, because when we were there we were involved in a couple of earthquakes. And there were people being shot on the freeways, and it's sort of rather sort of tense. There's no one ever on the streets, everyone's driving. And I think that brought out a bit of sort of anxiety in the music itself, which I think can be a good thing. I think if you make a record under unpleasant circumstances, often can sort of be rewarding in the actual music itself.
Well, the last album, Heyday, was produced by Peter Walsh, who I best know for his work with Simple Minds and Heaven 17 and bands like that. Must have been quite a contrast.
Oh, sort of night and day. Peter Walsh was this softly spoken, cherubic Englishman who became very good friends with the band and sort of coaxed you into doing things, and the record kind of reflected that. It was a very ornate record with millions of overdubs, and we kind of ran riot and did whatever we want, where these other two guys were sort of like working with a couple of characters out, the good, the bad and the ugly. It was sort of like, that'll do, that's good enough, and they weren't very friendly and they weren't so very impressed by it. Wish I knew what you were looking for. Might have known what you...
So is it the best album the Church have ever done?
Well, I think it is, yeah, unfortunately. I wish I could say no. I think, our third album was better than this, but Arista and Mushroom would probably shoot me if I said that.
The thing is, I don't usually worry too much about what people call their albums, but Starfish, to me, are like almost nature's flying ducks. They're very pretty to look at while they're lying on the ocean bed, but they don't do anything.
Yeah.
They're not very dynamic. Why Starfish?
Well, a chap the other day I did an interview with had this thing about it's a soft-boned crustacean, and is that, do the Church see themselves? Actually, the very boring answer is we were sitting around and I had a million ideas. I had all these ornate titles and the transmigration of the female soul and all things like that. And Richard Ploog, our drummer, just said, why don't we call it Starfish? Just sort of out of the blue. And Waddy Wachtel and Greg Ladani hated it, which I thought must be a good thing. So it came to be.
The single, Under the Milky Way, but the song isn't necessarily inspired by the Milky Way in the sky, is it?
No, there's a sort of a place in Amsterdam called the Milky Way Bar where you can legally smoke cannabis. And I was, it's kind of a mixture of everything. It's any Milky Way you think of. It definitely isn't the chocolate bar though. I'm expecting Arista to ring me up and say we've got some corporate sponsorship from Cadbury's, to promote the chocolate bar. Now it's a very open-ended Milky Way, if anything you like.
I sometimes wonder with your songs if they sort of start somewhere fairly definite, but by the time you've finished writing it, it's taken its own head and gone somewhere even where you don't know where it's gone.
That's right, yeah. I start out with an idea and it sort of meanders off into something totally different. And I don't try and sort of control that because, as I've always said, songs should be sort of very open-ended things, and, Milky Way, it's a very vague song, very vague song.
I think if there's ever been consistent criticism of your songs, it has been the lyrics.
Have people been criticising my songs?
Oh, look, they do it all the time, Steve. They don't understand what you're going on about.
Yeah. Well, once again, it gets back to this whole thing, understanding song lyrics. Why do people want to understand song lyrics? They should just like them or not like them or enjoy them or interpret them. But the worst thing in the world you can do is try and understand them, because songs are not logical statements. They're just, it's like trying to understand, you know, a stained glass window, understand a statue. You don't understand it, you just take it for what it is. You know?
Great. Thanks, Steve.
Okay.